I want to do a demo here to show you how to transfer all your data from one iPad to another iPad. And in my example, I want to show you how to do it to, say like you bought a new iPad and you installed the Airstream DMX app and there's no data on it, but you have a lot of data stored on another device. And so I prefer to use a cloud service and the Files app, iOS Files app. And so for this example, you can use any cloud service, but let's try to use iCloud because I think most people have iCloud. So from my screen here, you can see I've got a lot of fixtures patched. I got one effect. I've got some scenes. I've got a few shows. So we use the iOS Files app. So on your launch screen bar at the bottom, the little icon with a file on it, we go there. And in my locations on my iPad, I've got several apps here that have data. So, and what you can do when you go to locations, you've got iCloud Drive, my iPad. In my case, I have Dropbox. So anyway, so we're gonna look at the data that's stored with Airstream DMX, and you can see we've got a number of folders and then one file. The buttons file is where all your button names and stuff and how the buttons are assigned is stored. And then these other folders like archives, if you create some archives, you might have this folder. Effects, profiles, you may not even have any profiles that you created yourself. Scenes and shows. So this may or may not look like your setup. So what I want to do is I'm going to take all this data and I'm going to copy it up to iCloud. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go select, and I'm going to go ahead and select all my data. And then at the bottom, I'm going to tap the move. So where I'm going to move it to, I'm going to select iCloud Drive and hit copy. So when I go to iCloud Drive, all this stuff was copied up there. So my archives, buttons, effects, profiles, QuickTime. Well, this is some other stuff that was already up there, QuickTime Player and a GarageBand folder. Probably what I should have done is beforehand, I should have gone to iCloud Drive. And if you drag down, it exposes that create a new folder. And what I could have done was tap that and make a folder, just like a temporary folder. Call it temp. And I could have copied everything to that folder, which would have probably been smarter. But anyway, this will work for now. So on a new installation of the Airstream app on a device, there's no data stored, no scenes, no fixtures. And so what that means is if you go to look for data in order to load some data in from the cloud, there's not going to be any folders there. So actually there's no presence. You can't find the this app. Here, I'll show you. If you go to your apps, you're going to see I've got some other apps on here, but Airstream's now showing up because there's no data. So what you have to do is create just a little bit of data in order to create a folder. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to patch one fixture. I'm just going to go to the generic RGB and say patch one fixture. So what that does is now when I go to my files, Airstream DMX has a presence here on the device. So that's one little trick you have to do on a new install in order to make this work. So the next thing we want to do is everything we put up there on iCloud from the Airstream app, we want to copy it over to the new device. So from your new device, let's pretend this is a new device, and even though I backed up from this device, and what I did was I erased the app and then I reinstalled it, so it was like a fresh install. So in the upper right, okay, so if you go to locations, we're in iCloud Drive. The upper right there, it says select, tap that, and then we're going to select archives, buttons assign, effects, profiles, scenes, shows, and we're going to go move. And now we got to know, we got to tell it where we want to move it to. So we're going to go on my iPad, Airstream, and we're going to tap Airstream DMX, and now hit copy. So let's see if it did it or not. If it did, that was pretty fast. Oh, there they are. All right, here's something it did. The buttons assigned file got called buttons assigned to because there was already a file there with that name. So here's what I have to do. This is one more hoop to jump through. Go to the buttons assigned. The one we put in, it was like a temporary one. Whoops. Select that one. Let's delete that. Okay, now the one that we want, which was renamed buttons 2, that's the one that we put on iCloud. Let's see if we can rename that. So we need to rename this to from buttons 2 assigned to just buttons. So what we do is we tap the name buttons 2 and get rid of the 2. Say we're done. Okay, now it's called buttons assigned. Now this should work. So let's, there it is. So if the Airstream app had been running, what you need to do is dismiss it and then start it up again from scratch so it loads the buttons in. So you can see it's back to everything we put up on iCloud is there now. So anyway, that's how it's done.